hello and welcome back to our Tuesday Night Live. Tonight you are in for such a treat. Sometimes here on the channel, we have the honor and privilege of having some of our success stories, people that have taken control of their health, people that have gotten insane. This woman tonight, insane results. And really the most shocking part is in how quickly it can be done. And so tonight you are going to be inspired. You are going to smile. And this woman has a wealth of knowledge. And so let's go ahead and get her up here without further ado. Please help me welcome to the channel, Dr. Mary Starr.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thanks, Carmen.
And thank you with your extremely busy schedule for making time today to be on here and be an inspiration to all those that are watching. And so first and foremost, I want to just tell them, and they'll see a before and after photo of you here in a moment, but I want to tell them, so you have lost your heaviest when you started. So, because we're on here tonight talking about your 50-pound weight loss transformation.
Yeah.
And so you at your heaviest when you started with us 178.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week 127.8. That's 50.7 pounds.
No, crazy.
That you have lost. And so what size were you at your biggest?
My sister-in-laws had given me some 16s, and sadly, yeah, just at that point. So I was wearing tight 14s and could fit into 16s. Yeah.
You want to get every stretch out of those 14s, right? It's like,
yeah.
What is it about it when we start getting fluffy? Like we don't want to go, like we wait as long as we can to go to the next size.
Or wear a pregnancy pants forever, right? Yoga pants.
Or, in today's world, we can just wear leggings because those give a good,
Mm-hmm.
And then today at 127.8, what size does that put you at?
I'm fitting into size 4 dresses. I'm not like officially done. So I haven't, but my 8s are falling off of me. I'm definitely a 6, and it's possible I may end up being a 4, which just like blows my mind.
Okay, isn't it crazy? Do you ever go like shopping and you see the clothes and the clothes just look too little? You're like, there's no way this fits me.
Yeah. Like your smalls, like you can't like even fathom you fit in a small. The mediums are too big for you. Like what? What?
Yes. For me, after I lost the weight, it would never hit me how small I was until I was folding laundry. And I would fold my jeans, and I was like, wow.
My stuff gets put in my son's drawers a lot of times, my workout stuff. And it's funny. Yeah.
Yes, that's 100% truth. So those of you that have ever struggled when you're bigger, you're used to your clothes being so big. So a really weird mind switch is your clothes getting smaller. But anyway, so let's backtrack to the 178.5 pound Mary. Because obviously today they're going to see your beautiful glowing skin. You're this vibrant mother and wife and butt kicker in the
business. Muscles.
Who has muscles. Who is like, it has an athlete's body. But that wasn't always the case.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like, fatigued, depressed, didn't know it. Very fearful too. Like people, you sometimes you put on all this weight because you're just like, I don't know, protecting yourself or something, but just lived a lot in fear and didn't realize it. A lot of anxiety, like panic attack-ish, blood sugar swings, hormones a mess. Yeah. No libido. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, when you live like that, you kind of get used to it, right? Like you said, you didn't realize that there was even like depression going on or anything. It's so funny because it's like a slow fade. We get a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, and then we get kind of used to it. That's our new normal, if you will. Yeah. So what was it at 178.5 pounds that made you go, enough is enough? Like, I'm done.
Yeah, it was really a God thing, actually. And at the beginning of 2021, I just kept hearing, "You've got to lose 50 pounds." Now, I had heard that for 5 years, right? So, but like, okay, this is the year. And I was like telling people I'm going to lose 50 pounds and stuff like that. And you had season one of The Biggest Transformation. I was watching it and I used to walk and watch. I'm like, yeah, I'm losing 50 pounds. Never in a million years thought I would be on The Biggest Transformation. And, and then one day you had put out the applications and God's like, apply. Like, I want you to learn to do hard things. And you've got to get out of this comfort zone that you're in. And I'm like, well, that would be very uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, yes, no, yes. And it was like probably 10 o'clock at night. I told my husband, I'm doing to do this crazy thing. And I applied, but the Lord was really teaching me through The Biggest Transformation, your coaching, how to get out of the comfort zone, to get out of this place of mediocrity I lived in for a lot of years, and to learn to do hard things. And through the discipline of what we learn and what we do, it translated to so many other areas of my life. I can't even, it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Isn't that crazy? When you take control, when you're out of control in one area, when you lack discipline in one area, that rolls over to other areas. And the same thing, when you are in control and you have discipline in that area, that also rolls over. And so you obviously had insane, going from a size 16 to a 4, losing 50 pounds. But I just want to talk, because you alluded to this, what other areas in your life did you see improvement?
Well, everything from my parenting to how I ran my household to my business. Like, I just sat in a comfort zone because I'm in a business where I get paid whether I work or not, whether I work well or not. And I was just, kind of sitting back, collecting the checks, not really pushing myself to go farther, to do more. And because of that, because I could physically have the capacity to do more, my business skyrocketed. My parenting, I parent an autistic son and homeschool up to just a couple months ago, both of my children. And there was just a lot of mediocrity in that, lack of routines, lack of discipline. And, that slowly ended up shifting too. And yeah, and my capacity, like through The Biggest Transformation, towards the end, I ended up having to be my sister-in-law's nurse. She got very sick. She was in the hospital, had a rehab in my house, both her and my mother-in-law. We went through major moves, like all these extra things came on me, but I was able to have the capacity to actually go through those really hard things because I had these tools in my playbook now. I had ways to deal with stress without food. I had discipline, routines, and better communication, better habits, better emotional intelligence, all of those things. Yeah. It was amazing. Really amazing.
So, so often people see a story like yours, right? And it seems kind of like, oh, she must be special. They hear doctor in front of your name and they're like, oh, she's really smart. Of course, she got really healthy. Of course, she's got an athlete's body. But you were in the health industry for a long time and you weren't the picture of health that you are today.
No. And that's almost very common with other health professionals, therapists, people who work with a lot of people. Is like we give, but we don't take care of ourselves. And that was a big thing too. And also preaching and teaching, but not living, right? Not that disconnect there, the hypocrisy of that too. And so that was cool. But, and I think other health professionals who you've interviewed have said this too. We had the pieces, but we didn't have all the pieces together. And what The Biggest Transformation does is it puts all of these pieces together, and that's what makes the puzzle work, right? That's what really like, oh, okay, that's what I needed, right? So yeah, it's just, ah, it's so freeing. It's so freeing. Yeah.
What was, because and I think, and I don't know if you agree with this, but in my mind, and it's not that losing weight is easy, but it was never as hard as I thought it was going to be. So you had said, you kept saying, I'm going to lose 50 pounds for 5 years, right? So when you finally did it, and here you have this athlete's body, this bantamweight body, was it ever as hard as you thought it was going to be in your brain?
No. I no. I I'm trying to even think of what I thought it was going to be.
Because there's a reason we don't do it, right? Like I thought
Yeah.
I was gonna suck on lemons and starve myself and eat lettuce and
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah. And that's all the things I did, right? I did the lemonade diet. I did all the liver cleansing. I did the keto. I did the bone broth. I did, all of these things. And even when I was a kid, I mean, I did Weight Watchers and Tops and, all of these things. But again, it's all the pieces together which make it work. And so when you're in it, you're in it. You know what I mean? It's just there's a flow and a grace and ease, even though it is hard, but it's not hard, if that makes sense. It's simple, but not easy. Like, but you get into a groove, right? I think that the more you do it, the more repetition, the more you learn, the more you check these boxes, it's just easier, right? And that's the piece you teach too, is creating new habits. That's really the foundation of it, is these creating new habits and sticking to them.
So what was the hardest part for you, would you say? What was the hardest part?
The hardest part, I think, for me, and maybe others too, is like digging in to like, oh, that I'm an emotional eater. Not just I'm an emotional eater, but digging in, like, in really being honest with myself. Like I'm doing this because it makes me feel better, or like admitting to myself that I was using food as a crutch, and I was using it as a crutch because this other area of my life was deficient, or because, yes, like just admitting that I wasn't as good of a health person as I really thought, that I had admitting I had a lot of bad habits, and then digging into those and correcting those too. Yeah. The hard work.
Yeah, and isn't it funny, because until you go there, and until you, okay, yes, I'm an emotional eater, I'm a binge eater, until you actually admit that, you can't really get past it. And it's crazy though. I don't know of many clients I've ever worked with that came out and said, yep, I'm a secret eater, I'm a binge eater, I'm an emotional eater. Like, no, I have a food addiction. Nobody admits that. I think most people that are overweight don't even realize the control or the grip that food has on you, or even the bondage that the weight
Yes.
has you under.
Yeah. Huge bondage, and there's that fear piece too. It's like, well, if I stay heavy, then, well, I don't have to be in the limelight, or I don't, but God didn't make us to be under bondage. Like, you will shine so much brighter. You can do so much more. You can be so much effective, just even as a parent, a spouse, a worker. It's huge. Yeah. There's a lot of bondage.
How has this affected your family? Because you have two beautiful kids,
Yeah.
a great husband. How has this affected your family?
Well, huge, right? I'm happier. I'm healthier. I have more patience on most days. I'm a better mom. I can hear more. my marriage is so much better. But, and then my husband started using some of the principles that you teach, and has released 45 pounds as of yesterday. He lived in a body that wasn't serving him for a long time. He had a hernia for more than 10 years, an umbilical hernia. He's finally gotten that. He's like strutting around in his new body. Like, so, it's huge. And now my kids, they work out with us on a daily basis. We walk, we go to the Y, they've gotten stronger and healthier. They understand food better. They know what they have to pack in their lunch every day. They have to have a fruit. They have to have a veggie, a protein. It's fun. There's a lot more freedom and fun in our family life. Huge, huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you look at the studies, right, over 70% of adults are overweight. And the epidemic in kids of obesity and morbidly obese, like how many of our kids struggle with being overweight, and it's so sad. And they really do what we do. They don't do what we say.
Yeah.
And so our health is an example for them.
Yeah.
And so it's so cool to see you and your kids walking and swimming, and to see your husband. And that's the most amazing thing, because your husband did not start off joining you in the beginning.
No, he was still eating Taco Bell and pizza and all the things in front of me. He was supportive, like, good job, honey. Good job.
We eat the carrots.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I would say he's like even more strict than I am. Like he's all in, because the results are amazing. And again, we just went through a very stressful time in our house, our family life, and death and moves and all these things. And he was able to do so much better than had he had 45 pounds more on him. Like, I would be fearful for his life if he just had to have gone through what he did with 45 more pounds. It's awesome. It's awesome. And, and I came from that. I came from two obese parents, overweight and obese parents, who I copied their patterns. And Jay and I are just shocked at how healthy our kids are, how they can say no when they're full. And just like, that's huge. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. To see a child stop eating candy when they're full is like, most kids don't do that. They haven't been equipped with the skill to do that. And so, and I love that you guys are an example of this, because so often when one spouse gets started losing weight, the other one expects, well, you better do this too, or you better not have pizza, or you better not have fried chicken, or you better not da-da-da. And I can remember, especially in the beginning, like there'd be pizza, like they had pizza, or they had fast food, or they had like these things, right? And you would go outside and you're like, I just needed to get outside for a moment. But look at what happened because of your example. Because if you go back to 178.5 pound Mary, and you look at the kids and your husband, and you look at all that, like, do you ever just stop and look at your family and go, wow, like, crazy?
It is like, and I'm so grateful for the biggest transformation. I'm so grateful for what you've put together. I'm so grateful for what is coming that you're doing. I'm so grateful that I heard God and I obeyed, right? So it's, may have taken me 5 years, but I'm really grateful, because the quality of my life now is so much. It's so much. I don't know if my marriage honestly could have withstand what we went through had I not been in this place, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I don't think we get used to living with the weight, with the stress, with the bondage, with all the extra things. And so often people will say things like, well, Carmen, was it worth it? And it's so hard to explain to somebody who's living right now overweight how worth it is.
Yeah.
And that the best leap of faith the best bet you'll ever make is on yourself.
Right.
And to just take that leap of faith and just do it. So I want to end with this, because what would you say to somebody who's there and they're fearful of what if I fail again? They don't want to enter another program because what if it doesn't work for them? Or they're scared of doing this very public thing or just getting started. Like, what would you say to somebody who knows inside that there's more, but they don't know what?
It's so worth the investment, right? It's so worth the 6 months of your life. The 6 months of your life is just training ground, right? And then the next years of your life, you get to use these tools that are in your toolbox. And it doesn't mean you're not going to slip or fall off, but you go back to the tools that you have, you put them all together, and that's what gets you the results. So, what do you have to lose? A couple of birthday parties and holidays and grandma's cake for 6 months, maybe 12 months, right? I had 50 pounds to lose. Maybe you have 100 pounds to lose, but that's it. That is it. It is so worth the investment, your time, all of it is so worth. Your life will never be the same if you follow through and implement what you learn.
So what's next? What's next for you?
Well, since I'm in this new season, I am looking at just toning and just, getting a beautiful, athletic UFC bantamweight fighter, possibly lightweight, I don't know here, fighter body. I really love lifting. I just enjoy it. I'm in almost 50, but my biological weight is like 3 years younger. I just want to continue to hone that, to feel good, to help others. I mean, that's what I really want to do. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no way if someone met you on the street today that you look almost 50, like no way. And this is in the 40s and 50s. This is when people start to separate. This is where you can see 250-year-old women and one looks like a grandma and one doesn't. One looks older than she is and one looks younger because Mary, you have reverse aged.
Yeah.
You have reverse aged, which is crazy. It's crazy because most people with their health, they're older than they actually are. Their body is older. And it's just, it is incredible. And for those of you that don't know, Dr. Mary Starr, she is a chiropractor. She is an actual doctor, and she is my personal go-to for natural health. She has her own YouTube channel. It's Dr. Mary Starr Carter.
The Total Wellness Doc, yeah.
Total Wellness Doc. And so we will put her channel down below, but natural health, she's an expert when it comes to natural remedies and oils and all the things. And so whenever I have an issue, it's like my son he injured his neck last week in martial arts. And so I remembered exactly what you told me to put on his neck. She called it the chiropractor in a bottle. So I went and got it. I rubbed it on his neck. And so if you are looking for any of that, go check out her channel. She is amazing. She is trustworthy. She knows her stuff. She is an expert at what she does. And thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What an honor and privilege. Thank you, friend.
You are welcome. And for those of you watching, we'll be back live next week, same time, same place. We are already in another season of The Biggest Transformation, but I am going to link down below the wait list for the next season so that you could be the first one to find out when applications open up, and you don't want to miss your spot. Every single time we have way more applications than people we can take. And so anyway, have a great night and we'll see you later.